welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Ryan Richards, a residential loan officer and real estate investor based out of Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Today I'm joined by a very exciting guest in Wendell Butler. Wendell Butler is a full-time real estate investor focusing on fix and flips and new construction down in Charlotte, North Carolina. Wendell's journey, I'm sure, will resonate a lot with you all. But finding various careers surrounding the industry and in sales as an entrepreneur led himself into making the leap full-time into real estate investing with now several projects going on at the same time. We talk a lot about business philosophy as an entrepreneur and how important systems can be when trying to grow or scale your business. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Wendell Butler to the show.
What's going on, Ryan? How you been?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for coming on. I feel like if you let too much time lapse before you talk to you, there's usually plenty of updates to come. You've always got stuff going on. So.
Yeah, and I know we've been trying to get on this, but obviously I live in Charlotte, and it's always better to do podcasts in person. But we made it work. So thanks for having me on and spending the time. I appreciate it.
Of course, and I bet you get to enjoy some warmer weather than what we have going on up here. So that's a good thing.
It's been kind of crappy here, but probably not as cold as there. I don't know. It's been like 40, 48, 50 here. It might be similar.
Yeah, we're pretty close actually. So I guess.
Dang, it's like I'm back in New England.
We'll suffer in the misery together. Well, I want to start off by talking about just some of the changes you've had. I mean, obviously, the podcast, we talk a lot about real estate and entrepreneurship and certainly things you're very well versed in. But I always like to ask, the question as far as how you got into real estate, because I find everyone's journey, is so different. And obviously with you making the jump recently, going full-time real estate investor, that takes a lot of courage to make that step. And obviously, I see what you have going on now, a few different projects and touching some different asset classes. So if you don't mind, share a little bit of background about you and kind of how you got into real estate and led up to where you are now.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm not the type of person that, was born into a family that always did real estate or anything like that. My family always talked about it, but they never did it. They always knew it was a good investment, but they never really did it. And I just never really thought of it really. So when I was growing up, I was more looking at, I didn't really know what I want to do, honestly. And society was kind of molding me and pointing me in directions. When you grow up, people are like, oh, being a doctor is a good idea, or being a lawyer is a good idea. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll go be a doctor. So I went the path of, learning about a lot of science-based class, stuff like that. Got into college. I was trying to be a physician assistant. And the whole time I was doing that, I just didn't enjoy it. And I just kept doing it, right? I just kept moving forward, but I just wasn't enjoying school. And there were people that I was in class with that enjoyed it. They were killing it in their studies. I was half-assing it the whole way and still getting the grades and stuff. But after the class, I was I don't know anything. I just learned how to play the system, and I got a B or A on the final or the final grade. But if you went back and asked me what I learned, nothing. I just learned how to beat the system there.
Memorization. There.
Yeah, I would just stay up the night before and just look at a PowerPoint for 5 hours and then go back in and just match questions to answer or something. Yeah. And I'm I didn't learn anything. So I was doing that, and then I got through undergrad, and I was applying to PA schools, and I got into a few, but then I had I call it my quarter life crisis, I guess. Out of college, I was do I even I hate school. I hate the system and the process of that. And do I want to, jump into something that's going to be another 3 years of school, and then it's going to have a license over my head, a physician assistant, where I feel I have to work that. And you're making good money, whatever. You can't just throw that away. So I decided, let me just take a year off, because I was doing my CNA work and stuff. I had the hours. I was, accepted to a school, and I was just like, I'm gonna take a year just to see because I really don't know. And there was like an internal fight inside of me that was just like, no, just go to be a PA, like society, like your family will be proud. But like in my head, I'm in like my soul, I was like I don't want to. So thankfully my parents and stuff were like totally on board with me like taking a year off. They're like, do it. Like, yeah, take a year off. There's no need to rush into stuff. You're so young. So then I went to like Miami. That's why I call it my quarter life crisis. Like I went to Miami
Good location to pick.
where I had a lot of entrepreneurial friends that lived up there, and I just wanted to see like what they were doing. Like they went to college, but they like dropped out or like they don't use a degree. They're doing totally different things. They had like e-commerce, brands going, stuff like that. And I'm like, how the hell are they like living and making money? Um, so I surrounded myself with people with that type of mindset, and I realized like you don't have to have like a W-2, you don't have to like work, go to school, you don't have to have like those type of, you know, standard jobs to like make money, right? And it opened up my mind a lot to just like entrepreneurship and how you can kind of do whatever you want if you just put your mind to it and execute, right? So after I lived in Miami for like a year, I was like bartending and like living paycheck to paycheck, which was fun. But I realized that I'm pretty damn broke and I need to like figure something out. So I moved back to New England and I got into sales because I realized sales is probably the most freeing W-2 job that's like doesn't feel like a W-2 job, you know, because you kind of set your own schedule. It's kind of entrepreneurial. You're working for like a company, but you're doing your own thing.
You run
So I got into that.
essentially, yeah, your own mini business as part of the sales operation. You're kind of doing everything: the
Yeah,
marketing, lead gen.
yeah, it's basically you're like an entrepreneur, basically. So like not an entrepreneur, but like entrepreneur because you're like within your own company, which is the same thing as entrepreneur. Like you're just using the base or the branding of another company to build your business, which is entrepreneurship. But um, I got into sales. I was selling payroll at ADP, which was cool for like 8 months. But then like it's like selling ice to like an Eskimo. You're going to businesses, everybody already has payroll, and you're like, try my payroll. And they're like, what does it do? And I'm like, the same exact thing.
But
And then,
better.
and then you're like, but I can cut the cost down by 10%. And it ended up just being like a money thing.
Yeah.
Um, and that was cool. I got a lot of no's. I built thick skin. I was door knocking. I was walking into businesses. People telling me like screw off. And I was like, dang, like this is awesome training. One of the best training experiences ever. ADP payroll is like it will set you up great for sales because you just learn how to like just get through it. But yeah, after 8 months, I was like, this sucks. But that was during COVID, right? And sorry, I'm talking too long. I'll try to fast forward through this. But it was during COVID, and that's when real estate was like exploding. And I already had in the back of my mind, like I was listening to some real estate podcasts, like Bigger Pockets, reading books, and I was like, real estate's pretty awesome. And then you see on the media, like, oh, real estate's booming, like everything's going up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dang, like maybe I should look into real estate stuff. So luckily I had like a loan officer in my networking group and BNI that was looking for an assistant, loan officer assistant, and she offered me a job because she just liked my vibe and liked me as a person. And I was like, I don't know. And I thought about it for like a day, and then I was like, yeah, I'm out. So I like left ADP, joined her. Basically, drank like like it was like drinking from a fire hose because she was in the middle of like COVID refinances, purchases, blah blah. Everybody was like spending like crazy. She had like 40 loans like every month, like on deck, like going, and I was just like learning as I go. So I was there for like her assistant for like a year about and just learning and just helping out as much as I can.
Good time to jump in to learn. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was just like, screw it. Let me just step under this waterfall and just learn everything, catch as much as I can. So I did that for a year, and then I got my license myself, became a loan officer conventionally for a little bit. And then did that for a little bit, but then it get to the point that the rates started going up. And I was like, I like lending. I like the type of job it is where you have to like help people get their first home. You're helping people house hack. It's very fulfilling. You're doing the math, and I'm a math guy, and it's not like really crazy math. It's like fun math. It's like, you
Yeah.
know, making stuff work, putting problem solving. Um, but I was dealing with a lot of people that were like, when the rates were rising, I would like do all this work for them, and then at the very end, they'd be like, because you don't really lock them in. It's not like a real estate agent where you can lock them in, and then if they
Yeah.
leave you and go buy something else, like you still have to pay them commission. You don't send an agreement, and
Right.
as a loan officer too, like you can go through the whole process, and then literally like a week before closing, they're like, "Oh, this other person gave me a 0.25% less rate. I'm just gonna go with them," and you're like, "I what?" And you
Yeah,
try to like
understood.
match it.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah, you try to match it. If you can't, they're just like, "See ya." And you're like, Jesus, I just set up this whole loan and then I got to send it all over to that lender and they're going to get paid on it. It's like, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah,
So,
there's no loyalty. Yeah, for sure.
so then I hopped from conventional and I got into hard money space because I was like, I want to talk to business owners that they care about rates and points and stuff, but they're more just about speed, communication, and getting it done. So I jumped into that, drank from a fire hose again because investing in real estate never really stops. Like rates are up or down, like people are still investing. So I learned as much as possible through that. And while I was doing all this, I was still doing part-time real estate investing. So I was house hacking, I was buying rental properties when I could, learning about property management, building systems, etc. Um, and lo and behold, like it just got to the point that I was ready to make like a leap. I had like one deal that I could sell and have like a nest egg to make the leap into real estate full time. And then I just ended up kind of doing it, just jumping in and haven't looked back since. And it's been fun. It's been growing. It's been scary. It's been exciting. It's been nerve-wracking, but you just got to keep moving forward. And I know I just like talked a lot, but
It's good
yeah, that's
context.
kind of what it's kind of
It's good
what went
context.
down.
Yeah, no, and that I'm sure resonates with a lot of people because I find that this real estate's such a unique industry in that respect, where most people who go into it, they don't set out first to go into real estate. Like they start in something else, they bounce, find out their direction, they end up in real estate. Like
Yeah.
there's no, colleges don't have real estate degrees for a reason. It's people end up there. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to hear the journey because everyone's so different.
Well, I
But
think it's just like such a like almost every business owner that you talk to, entrepreneur, or like even just people, right? You talk to them and you're like, what do you, if they're older, you're like, what do you wish that you've done or whatever? And they'll be like, buy a rental property or buy whatever. Because real estate's such a good base for just your life of financial freedom. So like if you can just get into real estate a little bit, even if you're doing other stuff, like a lot of people just like it because it is very historically, it always goes up. It's pretty practical. I mean, people need a place to live. There's always people growing, population's growing. So it's a very good base, very safe base, to always be a part of.
everyone needs it. Everyone needs
Yeah.
housing. And so talk to me a little bit about that. I mean, so how obviously right now you're doing some fix and flips, you're doing some ground up. How did you end up in that particular niche? And of course you moved down, to Charlotte. You left New England. So like, why Charlotte? Is there a particular reason? Is it kind of the real estate market? Is it not necessarily tied to business? And how'd you end up, flipping houses?
Yeah. So when I was getting into real estate, I was in New England, it's like where you are, and it was mostly multifamily. So I was like a multifamily guy because it's just multifamily is everywhere there. It's like everywhere you look, there's like a 3 family, 4 family,
Oh
five
yeah.
unit, 6 units. That's all they have. And I never really thought about fixing and flipping houses there because I'm like, I'll just buy and house hack and do rental properties and stuff because that's a great place. Um, the reason I moved to Charlotte was I was born in Charlotte originally. I only lived there for like a year, but I would always visit throughout my time. And I just like, I don't know, I just didn't really have great vibes up in New England, like personally, like in my soul. I just wanted to like move south or try out other things and kind of move away from like family and home. And I always recommend people to try to do that if you want to like just move out of where you kind of grew up because you just never know, right? So that's the main reason I moved to Charlotte, and it's been fantastic since. I still love New England. Would I move back there and live there? And probably not, but like I love it. Like I go up there in the summer and stuff. Like nothing beats Martha's Vineyard, nothing beats the Cape and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but like I said, I was a multifamily guy in New England because that's how the market is, right? Doing fix and flips in New England is kind of hard because one, it's a very high entry point and it's super competitive, and you're dealing with a lot older houses that could have a lot more issues once you open up some walls. Like there's 1900 houses, 1800 houses in New
Yeah.
England. It's like you never
Insane.
know, right? And when I moved to Charlotte, I still had the multifamily mindset, and I'm like, multifamily, like house hack, rentals, you know, apartment complexes, stuff like that. And I was here for like a year looking for deals, and nothing just penciled out. And it's because of how the market was, right? So the rents haven't quite caught up with the prices that these places cost, and the cap rates were just too low for what I was trying to do at that point because I'm trying to do value add where you can make a lot of, force a lot of appreciation and equity into it to then put into other uh, endeavors and refinance and stuff. If I was at the point where I could be okay with a three cap, four cap, sure, I'd be buying multifamily here all the time. But like, I'm not there yet. I want to make quick money, get the ball rolling instead of
You-
buying it for tax advantages and just having passive, nice income. Um, but yeah, I moved to Charlotte and I realized after a year, I only found like one deal, which was a nice deal. It was like a 32 unit. And we've done pretty well on it. But one deal in a year did not push me towards financial freedom fast enough. So I was like, how the heck do I move faster? How do I move towards I can get, leave my W-2 and get into full time this? And the options here was really like the best option was really fix and flipping new builds, wholesaling, land entitlement. And I realized that because there's a lot of 1970 built houses here that need to be fix and flip. The entry points are low. You can get houses here for like $80,000 to $100,000. You can get in real quick. Not a lot of money, not a ton of risk, um, and just start accruing money faster. Which then obviously take that money and invest in long term investing like multifamilies and stuff. But that's the main reason I got into it. It's funny because throughout life I've always said like, I'll never fix and flip. That sounds terrible. Or like I'll never do new builds. I want like long-term stuff. Like that's just like a quick fix. I don't like it. And then like you never say never because it's market dependent. And you even helped me get an Airbnb. I'm never doing Airbnb. Like
Yeah,
that
no
sounds like
kidding.
so much work. But then it's like it's the only thing that works here. So like you have to mold to the market that you're in to be successful, and then you can look outwards in different markets. But that's the main reason I got into fix and flipping and new builds and things like that. To answer your question.
No, I feel like, when you say new builds and fix and flips, like if you're a newer investor, those are kind of like the golden buzzwords. I feel like those are, they're put on a pedestal of like the cool real estate investors. Like when I think of,
Yeah.
multifamily guys, you think of kind of an older landlord, and it just has a stereotype, but that's always like the new and exciting thing. But there's obviously a lot of moving parts, when you get into fix and flip, and everything's much faster. Time is money. So talk to me about a little bit about that. I mean, what have you learned through doing the fix and flips that you didn't know in the beginning, and like what are some of your biggest takeaways from having done several projects?
Yeah, I think I kind of set myself up um to be a little more successful initially. Like I wasn't too scared to get into that because being in New England, I just jumped in head first and like big projects that like most people would say that's too much for where I'm at or whatever. So like for example, I did like in Putnam, Connecticut, there was like an 8 unit property that I purchased, and that kind of set me up on my financial freedom and like entrepreneurship journey because I kind of used that money after it was done to make the leap. But that property was like a combination of every type of real estate investing technique or strategy possible, right? Because it was a 8 unit that was kind of a piece of crap. You had to flip it basically. You had to flip every single unit. You had to flip like deal with like roof issues, like foundation stuff, dealing with tenants, evicting tenants, putting in new tenants, putting up a property management system yourself, collect rent, deal with like all those headaches, right? And most people would see that deal like, and if it's like one of your first two, three deals, they'd be like, that's too much right now, right? But like I looked at it like, hey, that deal's going to teach me so much and it's going to be
Crash
so much
course.
confidence. Yeah, it's like whatever, like let me dive into there. And I was like, oh, an eviction, cool. Now I can learn about evictions
Yeah.
the hard way, right?
Well, it's funny that that was similar with me. That my first building was a 5 unit, and I have the same exact thoughts about it now that you do. So I did everything. I learned,
Yeah.
but every time something came up, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn how to do this. Like, let me put that in my belt.
And that's the
So,
mindset you have to have. You have to be like, this is gonna suck, but I'm gonna learn from it, and I'm gonna learn how to do it better, and I'm gonna learn about how to avoid these situations, and it also teaches you how to negotiate too with deals. So if deals have scenarios like that, you can be like, hey, I'm only paying this, and I'm paying this because this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, and it helps you negotiate and stuff. But basically, to short story, keep it short. I went through that whole project, and then after like a year or so, I moved to obviously Charlotte, and after a year there, I was like, dang, I get into fix and flipping and new builds. Um, and it's the same system. So like across the board, like in real estate and all the niches that you're in, it's kind of all like the same type of systems you need to set up. You need to purchase a property for the right price. You need to figure out what the rehab costs are and how you're going to manage that, and build relationships with contractors and get them out there to do it within a certain time frame, and stick to your budget. And then you got to figure out like what the market's looking for as an end product and how you're going to sell it, right? So you need to look at like, you know, how to finish the project. Do I have to do granite countertops? Can I do the plastic, whatever. I don't even know I forget what they're called.
oh my
Formica
God, yeah.
stuff. You got to look at like comps in that. And it's really just the difference is you're selling the single family homes to end buyers that are family. So you got to put yourself in like the buyer's shoes as that. Like what would they want in this market, in this area? And that's really the only difference compared to that and like multifamily rentals, because rentals are more like you're selling to renters. So like you're trying to figure out like what's the basic needs that they need based on this location, and can we provide that? And then single family homes is just more like if I had a family and I was moving into this home, how would I like it? What are some things that I can do to this property based on the other comparables that allow it to sell for top dollar? And things like that. But I would just say to wrap it up, basically everything. The first deal, you kind of want to do everything yourself because you're going to learn so much from it. And then you'll be able to build systems from there. You'll understand what sucks, what doesn't suck. And then you understand how the actual project flows. Because you're kind of the subcontractor doing everything, or the contractor that's subcontracting everything else. So you understand everything. And then from there, once you learn about all that aspects, you can then confidently talk to contractors, build relationships, and then the contractor is really your biggest asset with like fixing and flipping and new builds. They just need to understand what you want, the time frame, and the systems that you like to have, and you just need to communicate that well, and get it set up and build a relationship. And then once you do that, it kind of just flows pretty well. And then it's all about just acquisition and buying houses.
And how'd you go about finding that team? Because I feel like that's a lot of people struggle with finding your people. Like, how do you find a good contractor? How do you find good vendors for lender relationships and attorneys? Especially for you, I know you were in Charlotte for a year or so, came back, but obviously you're starting kind of almost from zero in a sense, where you've got to build those relationships from scratch.
Yeah.
So how do you go about finding the right people, especially for fix and flips?
Yeah, there's tons of it's a lot of guess and checking, right? One is you can always go on Facebook and Facebook investment groups and like post for people, and they'll give you a contact. And that's one thing I did. I just built a Rolodex, right? So I was like posting for general contractors. I was posting for like people that do windows, people that do roofs, blah, blah, blah. And just posting. And I had like a jot form that they would fill out. So then I accrued like 100 contractors. And then from that, you get a property on a contract, or you're just looking at properties. You try to get the contractors out with you, especially if they're a general contractor, to walk the property with you. And then they can give you an idea of like the cost and like what they're looking at. And then you can talk to them as a person, and build a relationship there and see if you even like them. And I think that's the biggest thing is you want to work with contractors that you don't butt heads with, that actually you like as a person, and mesh well, because they could be a great contractor, but if they're a total like dick, like you're not going to work well together no matter what. one of you are going to be stressed out and it's just not going to work well. But if they're um, just a lot more personable, they want to build their business while building yours and vice versa. You want to build your business while helping build theirs. That relationship creates just a better situation for like your business growing as well. So it really comes down to guess and checking. You're gonna have to meet with a lot of contractors. I would say when you first get started going out to deals, you want to almost get three bids from contractors, line item. You want to really understand what the costs are. And it's not only to help you see the cost, you got to communicate and say, hey, I'm trying to figure out your costs so then I can underwrite deals in the future based on your cost. Because if we're going to work together and continue building a relationship that we're going to continue working, it's easier for me to understand your costs and then I can make offers based on your rehab cost. And you're going to run into a lot of contractors that are like, I'm not doing a line item. You're going to nickel and dime me, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, cool. That's the best answer because you know you don't want to deal with them. Take them
Check them
off
off
your
the list.
Rolodex. Yeah.
Yeah.
See ya. And then the ones that do give you the line item, you can ask questions and be like, what about this? And if they're like open to like communication and working with you and feedback, those are the ones you really want to work with. And then it just comes down to just doing a project with them. You're never going to know until you do a project with them. And then you do one, you communicate as best as you can. Things are going to go wrong. So like get in your head, things are going to go wrong. There's no such thing as perfect in real estate. So as long as like things go wrong and the contractor works with you and fixes it and gets it done, like that's a great contractor. And then you just start building that relationship together. And it's sort of like a marriage, right? It's like a marriage within your fix and flipping a new build business or even multifamily renovations. And once you guys are both on the same page and work together a few times, that's where it really takes off. And then you start having trust in each other. You can just rip through deals, and that's when it gets really fun. But yeah, there's no quick way to just make sure a contractor is going to be fantastic. It's kind of guess and check. You filter, and then you do a deal together, and then you figure out, is this guy gonna be one that I want to work with long term, or girl, or is it one that we might not work on another one together and find a new one, and you just repeat the process again. But it takes time, right? There's no quick fix.
No, 100%. And I just went through that too. I mean, I moved down to Rhode Island, which obviously is not far from Massachusetts, but having to build out the new contractor list. And it's funny, I found that contractor you're talking about, the guy that I know I can work well with. We just did a project together, and he's money. So I know we're going to have a good relationship going forward. But I did it in tandem with, I had 2 units I was renovating, so I actually did 2 different contractors because I wanted to try them both out. And what's funny is now that you say that, one of the contractors is the text message, hey, your total's about 25K.
Yeah.
The other is a full line item, quote, broken down to the T with allowances, for countertops and everything. And I said, well, this already tells me who I should go with, but I had a referral for the other person, so I'm like, well, let me just give him a shot. What's the worst that can happen? And in the end, what I found is the person who texted me the ballpark number was less in the beginning. But by the end of it, of course, that number changed to what it should have been in the beginning, which is what the other guy had said. So, yeah, I think that piece is definitely important for people to understand, is how the quotes are prepared, and that communication factor is just super important.
Yeah, it's just real estate isn't just about buying houses, flipping houses, renting houses. It's a people business, right? You're going to deal with a ton of people, so you just have to learn how to communicate effectively. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to, tell people what you want and then work from there, right? It's just it's your project, it's your investment. Be confident and handle it the way that you want to in the best professional manner, but also think about the like how to communicate effectively, personable wise. You don't want to be like come off as like a dick.
Yeah. You want to take control, but in the right way. And I know communications and systems. Obviously, you've mentioned a few times. So, what would you say are like the most important systems that you've established for managing your projects, whether it be with your contractors or your vendors? What does that look like for you? What's kind of the most impactful?
Yeah. So when you're building out your business, no matter what business it is, you just want to figure out like what's your end goal, right? So for me, my end goal is like I want to be able to have systems in place that I don't have to do any day-to-day stuff. Like I don't even want to go to the properties. I don't even want to like I don't want to do anything other than find the deals, buy the deals, do the math, and then give them the game plan of what to do, and then sell the property. So people might say that's lazy. I'm like, cool, I'll be lazy and build the systems all my life then. I don't know. But you want to figure out your end goal. So my end goal is that, like, if I go to a property more than twice, I think it's a failure. I did something wrong, right? I didn't communicate right. I didn't set up my systems right, and I didn't communicate with the contractor correctly either. So one of the systems that I have in place, which takes a little bit, you can't just do this right off the bat, but one is again, the line item list. So you always want to understand your contractor's pricing and you want to like continuously update it and understand so you can have the calculator to underwrite with it. That and that's after you build a good relationship with your contractor once you test one out, right? Um, that way you can just find deals and buy deals without them having to go there and like quote it. Like you understand how to quote it. So it's faster to purchase the deals, and then it's easier to kind of have his quote or who's ever quote the contractor's number land within where you expected it. On top of that, I always have my contractors set up like a Google Drive or like something with pictures because I don't want to go out to the property every milestone and be like, this is done, this is done, this is done. All right, let's pay. I'm just like, just have your guys, subcontractors, whatever, send you pictures of the whole project, where it's at, like weekly or bi-weekly. And then I can see the pictures and I see where it's at. And then that way we're communicating easily just through pictures of the process and what's going on. And then we can easily facilitate payments. We can continue pushing the ball forward. You can ask questions with pictures from me. I don't have to go out to the property and waste my time when I could be trying to find more deals. Um, and that's another thing. Contractors love that too, by the way. Like they at first they might be like, "Oh, I gotta take pictures. That's annoying." But it's so much better than having an investor show up every day and be like, "Hey, you're doing this wrong. Hey, you're doing that wrong." When they might be in the middle of like fixing something and it's not even done, and you're telling them like how to do it. Like they hate people breathing down their neck. So
Sure.
if you set it up that way, like they actually end up loving it. And then it ends up just being like, "Hey, we bought a property. We got the quote. Okay, finalize the quote, scope of work. This is what we're gonna plan to do. Cool." They start, you make the payment, like initial deposit, and then they just send you picture updates, and you're like, "Cool, here's your next payment. Cool, here's your next payment," all the way to the end. And then at the end, you probably should go out and do like a punch item because pictures never tell all the truth.
Sure.
Um, and then do your final like line items and then list it. But I would say those two things, right? Getting line items for your contractors so you can underwrite deals based on their pricing instead of guessing. And then two, set up like a picture communication system with your contractors so you don't have to go out to the property all the time. They're just sending you pictures and updates that way. And then um yeah, that's probably like the two best systems that I
Awesome.
kind of coordinated.
Yeah, and how do you deal with materials? Do you select those yourself and provide a
Yeah.
list, or at this point do you have kind of that already established, like here's the cabinet line we're going to go with, and you just kind of pick the colors, or how do you handle the design part of it?
Yeah, so we kind of give our idea. Well, let's start with materials, right? So materials, I work with mostly general contractors. I don't sub out anything because I don't want to run a construction company. And when you start subbing stuff out, you're a construction company. And I think my time is way more valuable finding deals and putting deals into place and getting those deals worked on than dealing with subcontractors. So we always usually use GCs until the point we maybe hire a project manager, but then I'll have the project manager subcontract. So it's not me, right?
Right.
Um, but we always use GCs and I always have them buy all the materials. They handle everything. I don't do anything. But again, that comes back to the line item list, right? Because you figure out the pricing and they include materials and labor. So you already know how much everything costs based on their quote. And then you can underwrite deals based on that. Now, so they understand kind of the material and the finishes that you do. That's that just comes down from like working together like on a few projects. So the first couple projects that we had like a Word document. that broke down exactly what we're trying to do. It broke down like materials that we usually buy for them, the type of colors, the type of whatever. And then we gave that to them so they like knew where to buy the materials and stuff like that. But normally, like with their quotes with labor and materials, like it's not going to be too much different from like the materials. Like if you go buy materials differently, you might save like 3 to 5%. But like, is it worth it with all that time that you're doing? Like, if you do a time audit, you're probably making yourself like $10 an hour dealing with buying all the materials. So it's not even worth it. Um, but once you do a few together, it just ends up being like they understand what your product is and what your end product is and what you look for. We don't even give them like a scope of work anymore. We're like, hey, you've done these flips for us, and we send them like an old flip that we did. And we're like, see how this one was done? We're going for that.
Yeah, do that
And they're,
again.
and they're like, sweet. And they just
Awesome. Yeah.
and they love it. Like once they get that
They probably love the
freedom,
freedom. Yeah.
but you present them like a guideline, like this old flip right here. Remember how we did that one? We just want it like pretty much like that. But ask us any questions in between. They love it. Like they reach out to us with questions. We just reach out with like, what's the timeline on this? And they love the freedom of it. They hate micromanagers. They hate people breathing down the neck. So if you can set it up that way and be patient to build that trust, it just makes it so much easier, so much less stressful. You're not dealing with anything with the whole process. And yeah, that's kind of how I set it up with like the materials.
That's awesome. And one thing you said in that too is, I think I've talked about, several times before, but it's like off, because you said you're not offloading the task to be lazy. Well, and if people say that, then who cares? But that's not your objective. Like your objective is you're offloading all of the tasks that you don't, number one, enjoy and feel that you're best suited to take on. So you can focus on the higher value task for you, which is finding deals. And I feel like a lot of times entrepreneurs, they try to keep control of way too many things.
Yeah.
And that slows you down, where it's hard to think that someone else could be better at doing something than you. But in reality, that's how it works. There are people who are better at many things than I am in my business. And my goal isn't to figure out how to do those things. It's to find the people who can do them. I think that's a really important piece, that you hit on.
Yeah, and you're just gonna burn yourself out if you're trying to wear all the hats. Which I do this. I still do this today.
Oh yeah,
Like
me too.
you just do it, but then
Yeah.
you hit like a line and you're like, what the hell? Like, what am I doing? It's like it's the book like Buy Back Your Time or like Who Not How, which I have them both right here. Buy Back Your Time.
I read both those. Yeah, I've talked
Who
about those
Not
many times.
How. Yeah, like fantastic books. But that just kind of reiterates it. It's like do a time audit, right? And you want to figure out like what is wasting the most of your time for the least amount of like production. So like if every single deal I'm going and making like a cart, an Amazon cart, and Home Depot cart of all the materials, it would probably take me, because I'm kind of a perfectionist, it would probably take me like 5 hours to just put together a cart. But like in those 5 hours, I could have found like another deal. So like you're trading out, maybe saving $1,000 from those 5 hours of like penny pinching on materials, then maybe finding another deal that can make you like 40, 50 grand. So you got to start like looking at it that way. And also the mental stress of it. So you're just going to burn yourself out. Like if I do enough tedious tasks, I'm just like burnt. I'm just like, I can't do anything else. And I still do it today. And then I realize I need to hire someone for that. And that's usually when you need to really like hire something for that. But yeah, like I think that's a problem a lot of entrepreneurs have. And they either break past that or they get stuck doing all the stuff. And it really matters. Yeah, and like it matters on your goals too. Like if you want to scale it to the point that you're building systems and whatever, yeah, then hire the heavy stuff. Get rid of the low low cost tasks that you are doing repeatedly that you can easily hire out. But if you enjoy doing all that stuff, like I'm not saying go hire it out, but like if your goal is just you enjoy doing it, then cool, do it. But yeah, like I'm just setting up my business to the point that I'm just handling the high level tasks. And I think that's the best way to really scale and grow. And it's uncomfortable hiring people because, again, like you said, like no one can do it better than you. Like no one can do it better than me.
That's the old school mentality. Yeah, it's pride and it's old school. Yeah. It's like, and I'm sure you've heard it too. Like the old saying, if you want something done right, like do it yourself. Yeah. So it's like a principle that you're instilled from day one, you know?
Yeah. And like the way I look at it is like I had that too, and I still do. I still do. But like if someone could do it 80% as good as you, but you're saving like multiple hours or like 40 hours a month from not doing it, like that's a fantastic trade-off. Especially if it's low task stuff like social media, um, buying materials or admin work or stuff like that. Like sure they maybe they'll mess up a thing here and there. They're human. You mess up stuff here and there, right?
Sure.
But you got 40 hours back in like your month. That's awesome. Like that trade-off is always worth it to me. So I don't know,
Absolutely.
that's just like a way that I look at it.
Absolutely. So that allows you obviously to focus on, the acquisition side of things, which I'd like to pivot a little bit into that direction because I feel like that's, for many people, it's there's usually two reasons why people don't like start in real estate investing, especially fix and flip. Usually number one is I can't find the deal. But that's usually in part because they don't have the systems in place or they don't have the confidence, to really confidence or skills to underwrite a deal properly and actually make an offer. Like I feel like that's also a whole separate issue. But finding the deals, can be hard, especially like you said up in New England. It can be hard because they're competitive. So how do you go about the acquisition side of things, and how are you going about sourcing your deals? What does your role look like in that?
Yeah. So to get started, I would say one of the best ways to one find deals and just understand how to find deals is just go to as many network events as you can, of course. Learn from other people what they're doing in your market because every market's different. But across the board, pretty much every market has like wholesalers and real estate agents. That's a fantastic place to start. But again, they're not going to look at the deal the same way you're trying to look at it, right? But the way that I got started, I didn't do any direct marketing, nothing like that. I just networked with a bunch of realtors. I networked with a bunch of wholesalers, and I got on all their lists, right? And they were sending me deals, and I still get like 20 deals a day. I can barely keep up with it. But you just want to underwrite every deal very conservatively based on like what you know at that point in your experience. And that all comes with meeting with contractors, understanding rehab costs, understanding ARV, etc. But you want to like do that all yourself. You want to find your own comps, understand ARV. You want to figure out the budget, understand the budget, and you want to figure out like the profit you're trying to make and stick to that profit. So for me personally, we always try to make a 15% cash on cash return of all money in. And all money in includes like the hard money lending, includes our down payment, includes everything, right? So if a whole project, loan, rehab, down payment, whatever is $300,000, like we want to make $40,000 to $45,000 when we sell it after all the fees and stuff like that's net. So you want to like figure out your kind of goals there, and you want to have a specific buy box. Now your buy box is like super important because that's what you send out to those real estate agents, those wholesalers, and that's what they're going to try to send you. Now, one thing that new investors will do is there's not a lot of great wholesalers out there. There's not a lot of great real estate agents either. They might just start sending you like crap that just doesn't work at all. Don't just say no or like don't not answer them. Always answer and then always provide feedback exactly why this doesn't work. And then I'll offer your offer price if you want to. Even if it's below. If they're like, we want 250,000, you're like, I'm at like 190, bro. Tell them 190, tell them exactly why, tell them your comps, tell them the rehab cost, and break it down for them. Because out of those like 10 people that send you stuff, maybe one or two will take that back to the seller and actually try to get it down for you, or they'll learn from it and realize how to underwrite better to get you deals. Because I'm telling you right now, out of the 100 or 500 investors that they send those deals out to, 1% answer. And if you're part of that 1%, they're going to put you on the high priority list. And then all of a sudden, they're going to start understanding your buy box better. And then they're going to start underwriting their deals based on your buy box and your kind of information that you're providing back. And then you'll start getting better deals. But it just takes a while. You're almost training like a wholesale and agent army for you to then go market and find you deals. And I think that's the best way to start because it costs no money. It just costs time and communication. And then once that gets going, it's like a residual effect. And then word of mouth gets out. And then people start bringing you more deals. And then you always will have deals in the pipeline if you do it that way. And then you can go to direct marketing, like mailers, you can hire cold callers, etc. But I would say like that is the number one spot to start. It takes a little bit of time. Give it like 6 months to like really start getting some deals coming in that make sense, or at least close to it. But just understand you're almost coaching those people, wholesalers and agents, to work within your buy box to find you deals. And that's the way that I look at it, like a wholesale army, agent army.
That's awesome. I feel like as from all the podcasts and conversations I've had, I don't think anyone's actually said that before. To actually give feedback and respond to every message, because I'm definitely in, I guess, both sides of the camp. It depends how good the deal is, whether or not I'll answer, but it really shouldn't be. I should answer to every text I get. But
yeah, I mean, like you don't have to underwrite every single deal like down to a T. If it's close enough, do it. Especially if it's a new wholesaler, like do it. So you can like actually show them the feedback. Send them your calculator. Send them everything. Like break it down, and they'll be like, "Oh snap, you're right." Or they stink, and they'll just be like, "No, you're wrong." But then you just know like not to look at their deals anymore, right? You can start taking them off your list of reviewing. But like ones like they're so far away, like just have like a basic formula. Like my formula is ARV, and I times it by 75%. Some people do 70%, but more experience, you can do 75%. And then minus the rehab, and that's like where your purchase price will be. Like if they're like so far out, I usually just hit them with averages. I'm like, I flipped through the photos. I looked up comps. This is going to be worth 350. It's probably 40 to 45 price per square foot for rehab. So we're looking at like 60,000 rehab. And then, I would be around like 190, and then just give them that at least. Just give them something to answer, because I guarantee you like 1% of the people that they send it out to answer. And if you're part of that 1%, you're going to be higher on their hierarchy of, getting deals out to, and they'll really focus on trying to help you out, because obviously you're serious and you're going to buy. And that just shows that you're serious and you're going to buy, because there's a lot of tire kickers out there, real estate investors that are just like, oh, yeah, I'm in real estate, but they don't do anything.
No, send me everything, and they do nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, send it over. I'm so interested. You see it on Facebook all the time. They remind me of like the people you're trying to sell something on Facebook Marketplace, and they're like, "Is this available? Is this available?" Those are the people.
Away. Yeah.
Like, it's available. I wouldn't be listed if it wasn't.
That's good. Yeah, you see that all the time in the groups for sure. But that's great feedback. I know people listening, will appreciate that, because a lot of times people in real estate too, it's very generic information. Especially from other investors, you don't always get like those action items that you can take away and actually make a difference in your business. So,
yeah, always make an offer. You're not going to get an offer accepted without making an offer. We make like 30 to 40 offers a month, and like on our months that we're really looking, like 60, and we maybe get 2 or 3 accepted. Like it takes a lot of offers to get accepted, especially in this economy where sellers are kind of out of their minds with their price points. But always shoot your shot. Like you're not gonna make it unless you're sending out offers. Like no one's gonna just come up to you and be like, here's a deal. Like here, like you have to make offers, right?
It's a really great price, a really good deal.
Yeah, even if it's not the price point that they initially want, make the offer and explain why. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna lose 5 to 10 minutes of your time? That 5 to 10 minutes could turn into a $50,000 deal. Like make offers, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something I actually changed in my real estate investment side of the business. Is I set that principle with myself and any agents that I'll walk a property with. Is if I go there, I spend my time to walk the property, we're making an offer. Yeah. Like I don't care if you know the agent and it might make you look bad. Like we're offering what I need to offer for it to make sense, and we'll give them the feedback. And a lot of times agents respect that too. Like they don't want to waste their time either. Like they came out, they coordinated with tenants, if there are them, our tenants in place, to get you into the property with the seller, and then you go there and you just don't respond back. You never talk to them again.
That's the
worst.
Annoying thing ever. It's
yeah.
so annoying.
that's the worst. It's like getting stood up on a date. You know, you go on a date with someone and 2 weeks later there's no text back. It's like, we just spent all this time together. You know, at least owe me a text. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, I like that rule. If you walk a property, make an offer no matter what. Because if you're out there, then you probably already did enough due diligence to be like, this is what I'm interested in. I
Correct.
mean,
Pass the sniff test at least, you know?
yeah, granted, I have like properties that are sent to me that aren't in my buy box, and I'll just respond back and be like, this isn't in my buy box. Here's my buy box. We're just going to pass on this. And I don't even look at it. But that's another thing. It's still answering the wholesaler's agent's questions. So then they start understanding what to send you. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, yeah. I can't tell you how many times that I've made offers, even on MLS, wholesalers, agents, just direct offers, that initially they're like, that's way too low. Or like, I have so many other offers. I'm like, cool, sounds good. If anything falls through, let me know. And then 2 weeks later, they come back and they're like, could you do $10,000 more? And I'm like, nope. The offer that we offer is the exact offer that we always will stay to. Like, we'll close in 2 weeks. That's the offer. Let us know. But they always come back, especially in this economy. There's like 15 to 16%. I think it's a 15 to 60% rate right now that buyers cancel a contract that they're trying to buy, which is the highest, I think, ever. So there's a very good chance, even if someone says, we accept another offer, it's under contract, it was a higher offer, like follow up with them in a week, follow up with them in 2 weeks, a very good chance it's going to fall through, and then your offer will have a chance again. So always make an offer, always follow up, and just, yeah, that's the name of the game.
I love it. I love it. I love it, man.
Well, we're coming up here on an hour, and I want to ask a few questions. I always ask at the end of every show, and I appreciate having you on. And you and I could probably talk for 3 hours about real estate, but
Oh, yeah.
But I always like to end with a few questions. And one question I always ask is, especially today, everything's online based. People are looking for more resources to learn about real estate. They're trying to figure out what podcasts they should watch. And I know you held up 2 books a few minutes ago. So I got to ask what your top 3 recommendations would be for someone who wants to learn more about real estate or just entrepreneurship, whether it's books, podcasts, maybe communities. What type of recommendations you'd have?
Yeah, top 3. So right off the bat, I mean, the cheapest way you can do it is just buying books, like these self-help books that help you. If you just like ChatGPT or Google and be like, I don't know, if you're like, how do I get more time back in my day? Like buy back your time would probably come up and stuff like that. And then buy the books and read them. Like it's like $10-20 and it's going to give you, yeah, you got to read them. You can get an audiobook. You can do audiobooks. So you can listen to them. But it's like a $10 to $20 investment to possibly make you like hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. Like you never know where a book or a concept within a book can take you. And it's also just healthy. It's feeding your brain. Feeding your brain is good.
Good brain food.
Yeah, good brain food. Another one is, like YouTube and stuff. There's a ton of free content out there. YouTube University. Like listen to people, just get concepts, get ideas. There's people out there that just post stuff just for you to listen to and understand how to do what you want to do. I guarantee you, if you type in YouTube anything that you're trying to do, something will come up that will be helpful. And then 3, I would probably just say, I mean, obviously podcasts and stuff too, but if there's local networking events to go to and meeting like-minded individuals to surround yourself with people that are trying to do the same thing as you or someone that's a little bit ahead of you, like that is going to help you the most. Masterminds, even mentorship programs. I think you and Ben run one. Like those are fantastic because they're not like, yeah, they cost money, but like the amount of information you're getting from it is going to progress you so much further than you trying to learn yourself from your own mistakes. So you're almost like you're buying to learn about other people's mistakes, and like mentorships and class, stuff like that, to bypass those mistakes in the future, which would cost you way, 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 way more, right? So I think those 3, so like networking, masterminds, books, YouTube University, yeah, those are like the best, I would say. You just got to do it.
Yeah, you have to do it. I think it, like you said, it's not one thing. It's you got to try everything. Like, don't be afraid to put yourself out there in any respect. Like I know some people who, like you ask them, oh, would you read a book? And they're like, no, because not because they can't, it's because they doubt themselves that they'll even have the ability to finish it. But it's like, go for it. Pick up the book, read the whole thing, watch the video, go to the event. I think too many times people get scared.
Yeah, and it's just like you don't have to like when you get a book, you're not like I have to finish this. It's like just tell yourself to read 5 pages a day. Listen to 30 minutes of YouTube content based on what you're trying to do a day. And then slowly creep up from there. Because like once you start doing that, you're gonna start having questions in your mind that come from reading that stuff or watching those videos that you just as a human you're gonna want those answered. So you're gonna start consuming more of it and more of it to the point that you're gonna be like almost addicted to it. And then that's when it becomes fun because then you'll be going to network events, you'll be talking to people, you'll be watching that stuff, you'll be reading books, and then you just start growing without even knowing, right?
It's just like going to the gym. Like the first 2, 3 times, 4 times you go there, you're like, I don't want to be here. But then once you hit, 4, 5, 6 weeks, you're like, I can't wait to go to the gym. Yeah, I'm ready to go back. I need to. Yeah.
You take like 2 days off and you're like, oh, I feel fat and disgusting. I have to go. Yeah. It becomes routine. What is it? The 21-day rule? I think it's a 21-day rule where you do something consistently for 21 days. It'll be like engraved in you. I think it needs to be longer, but 21 is like a simple rule. And then all of a sudden you'll start feeling weird if you don't do it after that. So just give yourself grace and just put one foot in front of the other. Nothing's perfect. You don't have to like become a real estate investor overnight. It takes time and just start taking the steps towards learning and growing.
I love it. Yeah, I always said that too, where it's like, first understand that no one has the answers. So like, it's okay that you don't have the answers either. You just gotta take that step, find that path, or make one decision. You don't have to move a mountain in one day either. I feel like sometimes people feel like that, where they have to, because I don't have the answers to this massive problem, I can't start. But it's like, okay, start with the little problem that you can manage. Same thing with the gym. Like I think the gym is obviously a great analogy for, a lot of business. But same thing in the gym. You can't go in there and expect to lift the heaviest weights. You got to start with the small ones. Like start with the one you can move that one a bunch of times till you get really good at it, then try a different one. It's the same concept with business and real estate. So.
Yeah, no, the gym is always a great analogy. Another thing that I think about too is like everybody in life, it's kind of a weird concept that I think about this way, but everybody in life is just trying to figure out what the heck they're doing, right? There's millionaires, billionaires that still like, I'm just trying to figure out like day to day what I'm supposed to do. So like, don't be afraid to talk to anybody. Like, even if it's someone that's so far ahead of you, like walk up and talk to them because they were in your shoes once. I guarantee you, especially in the real estate network, like they're going to want to help you or answer questions as much as they can. They might not give you free information 24/7 because they have so much stuff to do in their business. But if you go to a networking event and talk to them, like don't be afraid because they're just going to open up. Like that's what's great about real. It's like a family. It's really like people that are there, like-minded individuals. They all want to help each other out. And like everybody's trying to figure out the next step. So like a millionaire might be figuring out the next step to build their business to something else. And they're scared to talk to that multimillionaire that already has it figured out. But that same guy's trying to figure out how to get the next step and they don't know what's going on. They're like, how do I do the next step? Everybody's like in certain aspects of life and they're all trying to figure it out. Everybody's trying to just move along. And yeah, you might be like a step below or like a different or in a process that they've already completed or a level that they've already completed. But they'll always help you. Like it's just, I don't know. You'll never know until you just go out and talk to people. Like I go to a real estate event, go to a network event, and you'll be like, wow, like these people are amazing. Just people you meet there is great. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on. And I know there's a lot of good stuff in this podcast. So I'm hoping people who are listening will take a lot from it. And you also have a podcast as well. So if you want to share a little bit about where people can learn more about you, definitely let us know.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a podcast. It's called The Real Estate Take. Thinking about rebranding it soon to like something more just entrepreneurial and just mindset and stuff and whole life. But it'll always have a real estate base because real estate, is cool. But the best way to reach out to me is I have a domain called wendellbutler.com. And it has just all the businesses that I have on it, my podcast, newsletter that you can subscribe to. And contact information has my email and stuff too, and my social media and everything. So you can always reach out to me through there. I'm always open to have conversations. If you're coming to me asking me like how to underwrite this deal like 40 times though, like I'm not gonna, and nobody's gonna really answer that because I have too much stuff going on, but like I will answer as much as I can. And if it gets to the point that don't be afraid to reach out to me. But if it gets to the point you're like asking me too much stuff, I'll let you know. I'll be like, hey, like I'll try to answer this, but I just don't have time. I'm almost too real or straightforward. But reach out to me anytime. I'm here to help. I've trying to grow, trying to help people grow, and I just love, just spreading information and learning. So if you have something that you want to teach me too, please tell me.
I love it. I love it.
I love it. Likewise. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you again, and I'm looking forward to staying in touch in the future. Hopefully, we'll do another one of these soon.
Oh yeah, for sure. Nice. Thank you for having me on, and yeah, come down to Charlotte. Let's play some golf.
100%. That's not a hard sell.
Yeah, sold.
So.